Day 2 of Cannes Lion.
Day 2 was great.
Definitely agree.
Tubi
is a streaming platform. The largest in the world.
It'll be the
largest free one in the world.
And they had a great panel on there. Talking about pitching people in your business on patience and making peers and stakeholders recognize the dollar doesn't have to convert on day one, which I thought was really interesting on pitching on patience with sound is a big thing I think we run into in terms of the longevity that it takes for sound to necessarily return that dollar or pound.
That particular chat was a lot of marketing, CMOs, marketing managers. There was a lot of talks about budget actually in that talk.
It was challenger brands.
Yeah, they were talking about how they're maneuvering budgets, not asking for more budgets, but maneuvering it around the company in different ways that was effective. But that has been very useful to them in actually getting to achieve what they wanted to do, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, Nick from Chime was talking about that, wasn't he? He had it was him and one of his colleagues, and they decided to get together and instead of keeping their budgets separate, pull them together. To have a bigger impact on it. Yeah, exactly.
It was a really great place yesterday, I felt, to just meet awesome people. Because Tubi was quite a small stage. It wasn't overcrowded. It felt quite exclusive, I guess, in many ways. But what I love is all these stages are open to anyone that wants to register and come along.
Great. So everyone seemed very open to discussing ideas. And
if anyone's thinking about coming to Cannes and thinks it's just about the main event, we're not in the main event this year. We were recommended to come and sit on the fringe events. And
I mean, there's so much going on in the fringe. I don't know how you find any time to go into the main event anyway.
No. They're really, and really, we haven't paid to go to Cannes specifically. Obviously, we've paid to be here, but if somebody didn't tell us that, we probably wouldn't be coming here because it's like $3,000 a ticket or whatever to go into the main event if you've got a decent tier. So, really has been valuable to just get in the room with those people. Highly would recommend that. And really lovely people, actually. They want to be here. They want to talk. They want to connect.
Yeah, exactly.
Which has been nice. Normally, you go to these conferences and you're like, do I want to go over to that person and ask for their email or whatever? It sometimes feels awkward, but people genuinely want to connect here, which is
sometimes
amazing.
Feel the speakers at other conferences are there because they've been told by their business that they're going to speak at a conference, and then when they're done, understandably, they want to leave. So they might talk to you for a bit, but they also, like we were discussing yesterday, they don't really know who's in the room, and it's hard to gauge somebody's ambition or position, let's say, just on the fly. But I think because everyone's invested money to be here, you're not here if you're just thinking about doing something, or you've got like a bit of a side hustle that you're kind of not really taking seriously or whatever. So I think that instantly puts everyone on a very similar plane.
And one thing I really loved yesterday was Jeffrey, the founder of DreamWorks, was how we started our day, listening to him. A great panel with the three of them. And he had quite an interesting perspective on what he'd seen with the development of AI over the years. There's so much conversation about AI.
Is there?
I feel almost conscious to talk about AI because a lot of it is very cliche talk in terms of...
What's your biggest takeaway? Because I wrote down one of his quotes.
Well, the thing that stuck with me the most was the perspective on AI. He's seen, when he started, I think it was 1984 in Disney, everyone was hand drawing each frame of a film, which was like 130,000 frames in a film. That's a lot of work. And he obviously saw computers come into the game, but he didn't see jobs go out the window. He saw things expand and ambition grow.
There's, like, since those days, there's something like 30 or 40% more jobs in animation since computers started, as there were before, and it was all hand drawn.
Yeah, and they could do more films and be more ambitious with experimenting.
My favorite from him was that the next step's going to be revolutionary, not evolutionary, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
I thought it's like, he's like, there's something big coming. He's like, I don't know what it is, but there's something that's just going to pop out of nowhere, and it's going to be like a massive game changer, which I thought was really exciting.
Alison on the second panel was talking about, she was pointing out that obviously marketing in general is focused, generally speaking, towards lead generation, and it doesn't really go beyond that. But she was pointing out that being a challenger brand is all about focus. For her, it's all about focusing on the brand, which then trickles down to marketing. So that even if you're focusing on lead gen, you're still building a bigger picture. You're not just focusing on like quick wins.
Yeah.
And I think that focus on that next tier up, which is where we spend a lot of our time, is trying to get brands to really invest into, you know, if you put the work up here, that trickles down to all your content and how you sound. There is some consistency there, and you're always and if you want to do those quick wins where there's 10 posts a week or 10,000 in the case of Jim yesterday, at least you're always building with your guidelines, always building towards a bigger picture, and I enjoyed that.
I think it was a different talk, but it ties into that point. Whereas James Herman, I've got here, bake the emotional connection into a brand from the start.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's to that point, you know, like we're always talking about using sound because that helps build that emotional connection. And if you can get that from the beginning, then that's where they're seeing the biggest benefits.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to end on just one favourite thing that stuck with us yesterday from Nick at Chime. He was saying he likes pushing towards things that nobody asked for.
He wants to be brought things that he didn't ask for.
Yeah, he wants to lean into like that world because that's where the experimentation happens. That's where it's like his team are pushing boundaries, and I think that's a great way to, I guess, encourage your team in many ways to research, look into things that nobody's necessarily asking for, but could be the next progressive thing in the business. And I enjoyed that perspective. Welcoming that is quite a rare perspective, I think, and I enjoyed that.
Day 3.
Day 3. Anything you're excited for today?
Surviving it.
Today's our biggest day of talks.
That's a big one. Getting back to the Tubi stage, getting more of that coffee.
Yeah.
I think it was a thing of beauty watching a barista make a iced coffee silently whilst the talk was happening. That blew my mind.
We're still awake. We're still here halfway through the week already.
There you go. Day 3.